taken all the way for Arizona. Touchdown, 27 yards.
Thrown, catch is made, touchdown.
All right, fellas. So let's first welcome everybody to the Four Corners Fantasy Football Talk Show. This is our pilot episode. The conversation that you have with your friends, the barbershop, restaurant, we actually are bringing that to the forefront with our fantasy talk. We're not super experts, but that's the best part about this show. We want to engage everybody as well as give you our views and give you guys some tips as well. I'm 1/4 of the co-host here on the show. I go by Tony G. I'm like an 8-year fantasy player. These gentlemen you see here will introduce themselves. I'm consistently in the playoffs. I've won 1 or 2 championships in the past. We've got some current champions here with us, but you guys want to introduce yourselves?
I'll go next. Hey guys, it's Mike Miller. I've been in fantasy about 4 years now, 3 championships, consistent playoffs. I love fantasy. I love doing the research, and I love these guys. So it's going to be a fun time.
What's up, Nick?
Go for it.
Hi. My name's E-Man, a.k.a. Manny, a.k.a. Emmanuel. 6 years playing fantasy. Current champion of the World Fantasy League Federation. Love using my eyes. Love watching football and feeling what a player's gonna do or how well they're gonna perform next year. So I'm gonna be a little bit off the cuff with my pick. But I'm more of a feeling guy than I am a statistician. I don't think stats tell the whole story. So that'll be what you'll see. You'll see a lot from me. I'm good. Mike, you're pro.
We can't hear you, Isaac.
How about now?
There we go.
Okay. So my name's Isaac. This is my 4th year of doing fantasy football. I've made the playoffs every single time. I have not won a championship. I love the statistics behind fantasy, and I love the analysis behind it, and it's a blast.
Awesome. All right, so with the Four Corners Fantasy Football Show, we go by 4 corners, and here's why. We all play on the same field, but there's always 4 sides on the field. So we love the game. We'll have different views, and then so will all of our viewers and fans and such. First things first, we got to be mindful of the times that we're in, so we want everybody to stay home, stay safe. And this is not the most beautiful setting, but we wanted to kind of bring our fantasy football chat to the platform. But we do want everybody to stay home, stay safe. Isaac Gary is our analyst. We like to call him the analyst. He literally crunches every single number there is. So we're going to refer to him as the analyst from time to time. Manny is going to be referred to as the bold predictor from time to time. Very bold predictions, very bold personality. Guy knows his football. A lot of people will relate to him, and a lot of people have fun listening to him. Mike Mill, my man Mike he's the coach. Always worrying about the moves, watching where players are going, studying the X's and O's. And then I refer to myself as the realist. I'm extremely realistic about my predictions. I don't like to trade much, and I call it like I see it. I'm probably not the most fun fantasy player, but it is what it is. Mike Mill, man, if you don't mind, can you let us know what topic we're doing? Things are moving a little slow this season, but we wanted to do on a topic.
So our topic we're going to do is our top 5 fantasy prospects for quarterbacks for overall statistical purposes. So in fantasy points for this season. So I think we all have some of the same people in these categories, and then we also have some that differentiate. Like pretty much, we might have some wild cards in here as well, and then we also have what we call like our blow up pick of the year. So pretty much somebody who's that wasn't doing as good last year or didn't have the statistics last year, but has a chance to be real good this year. So we each gonna have a pick of that. But yeah, so start with that if that's okay with everyone. Who wants to go first here?
Isaac, I say you shoot first, man. As the analyst, I think you go with your picks first if you don't mind.
Sure. Yeah, I'd love to. One sec. Let me get the list. So, for my top 5, I'm sticking to Patrick Mahomes as number 1. I mean, consistently year over year, he outperforms everyone. Like, it's not a big competition there. The guy just throws the ball and will consistently get you fantasy points. For my second one, I'm going Dak Prescott. Their offense last year was pretty darn good. I mean, in reality, they didn't exactly win as many games, but fantasy-wise, that man got points. And this year, it's just getting better. Third one, I'm going Drew Brees. I mean, their offense, they've got arguably some of the best running backs, some of the best wide receivers, and their offensive line just makes it happen. Fourth one, I'm going Matt Ryan. They've got a terrible defense, but that man can throw. So it's the perfect combination for fantasy points-wise out there. And the fifth one, it's not probably the most popular, but I'm going Kyler Murray. I think last year was kind of a so-so year for him, but it's the first year the guy never actually sat behind anyone to mentor or anything. They threw him into it, and he still produced arguably above the top 20% of any other quarterback. So I think he only can get better from here. I mean, he's got a year under his belt. He's got a fantastic wide receivers now with DeAndre Hopkins. So
yep,
I like it.
For my breakout, I'm going Baker Mayfield, which he was trash last year. But arguably speaking, he has some of the best players behind him. They got a better offensive line.
Oh.
If the guy doesn't produce this year, he's canned. So it's do or die.
All right. Listen, that's fair assessment. And I gotta apologize. I didn't do my homework to see where he landed in points last year. I did more watching him on the field, but we can get to that in a little bit. I don't think you're crazy. I did my homework, and as an analyst, I'm sure you did too. So I don't think you're crazy.
He landed number 20.
He was terrible last year.
Yeah.
Dreadful. He was like top 5 for most sacks, top most turnovers. But they blamed the offensive line repeatedly, and they improved that.
I do agree because he has weapons.
He does. I mean, with Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham, Nick Chubb, Hunt, how can you not produce with the offensive line?
Let's not forget Austin Hooper that's coming over from Atlanta.
Yeah.
He's a Pro Bowl caliber tight end. If he can actually deliver the football, it would make sense that he would be at least somewhere near that top 10.
Yeah, I think as a Cardinals fan, it's
sorry,
hard to fall in love with him.
Well, yeah, and how well did he do the year before last year?
Good. The year before, when he first started taking over for Tyrod Taylor, they took a losing season and made it into a 50-50 season.
Yeah.
He won the first game the Browns won in 3 years.
That's true.
That is true.
Very true. All right. Cool. E-Man, you got a minute to share your picks, or you want me to go through them? Well, go with your number one. We know who your number one is. Go ahead and let that one up.
My number one fantasy quarterback for next year is definitely going to be Tom Brady. Absolutely, without a doubt. We've seen Tom Brady with weapons. We've seen what he can do. The last time he had weapons, he had an 18-0 season. I am a Giants fan. I'm a New Yorker through and through. I don't like rooting for Bostonians. I don't like giving them credit. Even less than I like giving. I'd rather give Dallas players credit before I give Patriots players credit, to be honest. But Tom Brady is the truth. Tom Brady's never had weapons. He He had nobody to throw to last year, and now he has everybody. Everybody.
Okay.
From Chris Godwin to Rob Gronkowski coming back after taking a whole year off, losing a ton of weight, coming back. Mike Evans has been producing with a guy who's literally legally blind, Mike Evans managed to be one of the top receivers in the league for the last 2-3 years. And now he has a quarterback who can actually throw the ball. It's not even close. Next is Patrick Mahomes is number 2. That doesn't need to be said. Consistent player, great player. You could make a case for number 1. I just think Tom Brady's going to be number 1. Number 3 is definitely going to be Drew Brees. I think he's an all-star. I think they have, like Barry said, Isaac, my bad. They have everybody from Alvin Kamara to Michael Thomas. They could throw the ball to anybody over there, and Drew Brees is a stud personified. Number 4, I don't remember what I put for number 4.
Lamar.
You've got Lamar Jackson.
Lamar Jackson. Yep.
Yeah.
That sounds about right. I think that he's going to make up for his lack of ability with his arms, with his legs every year naturally. But I do think he's improved every year at the quarterback position, throwing the ball, specifically passing. So he's becoming a better passer. There's nothing that says he won't become a better passer next year. But that's why I have him in my top 5. And what's my number 5?
You've got Russell Wilson.
Yeah, absolutely. Russell Wilson, most underrated player in the NFL, most underrated QB in the NFL. Nobody talks about Russell Wilson, but he is greatness personified. When his career is over, he's going to be one of the greatest quarterbacks to play the game. He plays it the right way. He knows how to. He's a great situational runner, and he is an amazing passer. And I mean, his ability to make plays is insane. He is the reason why I say you don't need an offensive line. That man hasn't had an offensive line, has been through it with not having an offensive line, and he's made magic happen. I love that guy. And then my breakout player for next year is a bit of a homer pick, but I do believe it's going to be Daniel Jones.
Oh.
Daniel Jones, last year, with 4 less games, produced the same amount of touchdowns as your boy Jimmy Garoppolo, Jimmy G, who we thought was going to be the next Tom Brady, the next up and coming. He's got issues with fumbling the ball, but I think that this year that's not even going to happen. It's going to be a non-issue. I love his talent. I love his potential. I am a purist when it comes to QBs. I like people who can actually do the job. I don't like just focusing on the around them. Like, if you notice from my list, people who can produce on their own, not necessarily needing a ton of talent, or people that could produce even with the talent not around them.
Right. All right. Yeah. Interesting pick, but that's all right. I like where you're going with that. Cool. All right. So far breakouts, we got Baker Mayfield and we got Daniel Jones. All right. Mikey Mill.
Let's go. So I start off my list with Patrick Mahomes. Like I said, you know what? They added Clyde Edwards-Helaire to that offense, and people are comparing him to a young Brian Westbrook. Andy Reid has always had one of the most passer style of offenses where they pass the ball way more than they throw the ball. And Mahomes, in my opinion, is skill-wise set the best quarterback in the league. So I don't see that changing. So I'm going to keep him at number 1. Dak Prescott last year actually finished, I believe, number 2 in fantasy. For me, a good recipe for a fantasy quarterback is a quarterback who has lots of weapons around him, that has done it before, and that has not a very good defense. So the Cowboys secondary, they're going to be in a lot of shootouts. And, you add a weapon like CeeDee Lamb to that team. They have Michael Gallup, they have Amari Cooper, and you have to stack the box against Ezekiel Elliott. You can't afford not to. So it doesn't allow to double cover as much, which a lot of one-on-one battles are won by guys like Amari Cooper and Michael Gallup. So I'm going to stick with Dak at number 2. I think he's going to produce. I don't think the Cowboys going to have that good of a year, but I think from a statistical standpoint, Dak is going to do good. So Matt Ryan is number 3 for me. Matt Ryan is kind of in the same boat as Dak. He has tons of weapons, doesn't have that great of a defense. If you go back 2 years ago, Matt Ryan was actually the number 2 fantasy quarterback in the league in 2018. So I look for him to get back to that. The reason why is, they have a pass catcher for the first time out of the backfield, like they did that year, like with Tevin Coleman. Now they have a guy in Todd Gurley that can do that. Devontae Freeman, he hasn't been very reliable. I think Gurley, even though he's injured, he's not the same person. He's definitely an upgrade over Devontae Freeman. Plus, they added a speedy tight end in Hunter Hurst from Baltimore, who actually helped out catching a lot of red zone touchdowns from Lamar Jackson last year. So people think about Mark Andrews, but they don't really realize Hunter Hurst is actually a very speedy tight end who I think is going to be breakout candidate of the year for a tight end.
Right.
So given all that together, Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley, I think he's going to be back in the top 5. I think his ceiling is 3, but he could fall anywhere in that top 5. Number 4, Lamar Jackson. It's amazing that he threw 35 touchdown passes last year, and he also ran for 1,000 yards. The only thing is, I think with the year underneath his belt, I think there's going to be a little bit regression because of the game planning for him. Plus, I don't think the Ravens did as much in the draft or free agency to help him out from a wide receiver standpoint. When your starting wide receivers are Marquise Brown and Willie Snead, that doesn't really scare you. So, unfortunately, I think that's the reason why he falls. But, hey, a top 5 quarterback, in my opinion, is still a very good quarterback. And then number 5, I have Drew Brees for the same reasons. My only difference about Drew Brees is I think they lean on the run game a little bit more since he is a little bit older. They have a better defense now. They signed safety Malcolm Jenkins from the Eagles. So they shore up that secondary to go on with Lattimore and a few other guys. I don't think they're going to be in as many shootouts as they were in previous years. So I think, Brees finishes in the top 5. Could go up a little bit higher than 5, but that's where I'm predicting him at. And then last but not least, my breakout player is Kyler Murray. I know, Isaac, you have him as your 5th. I definitely would agree with that. I think you take a guy who catches 100 balls every season, you add him to that offense. They also rebuilt the offensive line through the draft and free agency over there in Arizona. They have Larry Fitzgerald. He's older, but still catching passes. They have a few other guys, Christian Kirk on the outside. And then their running backs can catch very well out of the backfield, Kenyon Drake and Chase Edmonds. So I like Kyler Murray to be at least a top 10 quarterback this year.
Word, man. And they got a veteran. They got a Hall of Famer teaching another Hall of Famer, and then teaching a Christian Kirk. They got an interesting situation down there. Definitely set Kyler Murray up to succeed. I think it's an interesting. I don't think it's crazy. I think it's an interesting pick. I got to see him play some more football without, running around. But the numbers are there. And I didn't do my homework on him. I didn't see that he actually cracked the top 10. So there's a lot of upside there. All right, so I'm going to jump into
How about you, Anthony?
So I went with Patrick Mahomes as number 1. I look at consistency. As a realist, I'm looking at consistency. Like, if there's consistency, it's him. He's your Super Bowl MVP, and he showed up when it made sense. So yeah, I don't think his scoring last year really says a lot about where he is in the fantasy world, but I think he's going to be a lot of people's number 1. I'm rocking with Patrick Mahomes. 2, I got to go with Lamar Jackson. His stat line was incredible. You don't really do for a fantasy like he was last year's Cam Newton. For those, like, the year he was the MVP, and then that 1 year, like, he's like the darling of fantasy. So we got to keep him there until somebody can unseat him. He's got the same targets. For the most part, he's got the same targets. So we'll see. 3, I'm going big. I'm going Aaron Rodgers on this. And
interesting.
All right, so hear me out.
Wow.
I'm looking at the numbers, man. So, like, he threw for 4,000. 26 TDs, 4 interceptions. He doesn't turn the ball over a lot. 4 interceptions. Like, really think about it. 4 interceptions means he went all those weeks, didn't turn the ball over. I think Jordan Love's acquisition, well, him being drafted pushes him up a little bit. I think you got to kind of push Aaron Rodgers. I'm looking for him to blow back up this year. So hold me to that. I'm going him at number 3.
We don't even know if he's going to play in Green Bay next year.
What do you mean?
I think he's going to play.
I don't think he's going to play for long.
That's a whole nother conversation. Until he leaves, he's going to be my number 3. And for what it's worth, he's got Devin Funches. I'll continue.
You're right.
Well, that changes everything.
Devin Funches. My number 4 is Drew Brees. Only because like the guy missed those 5 games and still came out and destroyed it. He also had 4 interceptions. I feel like you can't count Drew Brees out ever. He's just going to throw the rock. And when Michael Thomas is on the team, forget Alvin Kamara. When Michael Thomas is on the team, that's it. You're guaranteed. He's a starter every week. Drew Brees does not fall out of my good graces. I'm keeping him at my number 4. At my number 5, I'm going Deshaun Watson. I think some people might have fell asleep on him.
I like that pick. I love that.
Yeah, I think it's a good one. Like he's got David.
He was almost on number 5.
I almost don't count, bro. He's my number 5. He has all the targets, all proven guys, right? He's got Brandon Cooks, who very reliable, and then now we got David Johnson, Brandon Cobb. When Brandon Cooks is healthy, I should say.
Yeah, okay, there you go. That's what I thought you meant.
So I'm going to Deshaun Watson. And we'll keep these, and as we progress through the season, we'll look back at these. My breakout pick is going to be Tyrod Taylor. Every time I see Tyrod Taylor, I automatically think 8 Mile and Eminem. Every time I see Tyrod Taylor, it's
spaghetti.
Like his mom's spaghetti. His career is always like hanging in the balance somewhere because he gets one shot to prove himself. So I'm gonna go with Tyrod. I think he's gonna handle business over there in LA. And yeah, I
like it.
I definitely want to get some and to our viewers, right? Because there's people who are gonna be watching this. We definitely want you guys to chime in, throw some suggestions if you think we're crazy. Tell us what you like, what you love, what you don't like, what you don't love. You know what I mean? We're here to offer some of our opinions as well. I definitely want to talk about breakout pick though. I got a question, Isaac, if you don't mind.
Shoot.
Baker Mayfield, giant question mark, bruh. Talk to me about why he's the breakout for you.
Okay, so last year, complete trash. But arguably, he has some of the best offensive people around him. I mean,
Right.
Nick Chubb blew up last year.
True.
But in the past has been a proven running back. So arguably, you have 2 of the best running backs on a team, which makes no logical sense, but you got it, so you might as well use it.
Right.
So
True.
that's the running back game. Now, if we run over to the wide receivers, Odell Beckham, the man's name says itself.
Right.
Jarvis Landry, proven MVP as just a player. The man kills it.
Right.
And then we could throw their tight ends in there as well. I mean, if you have a good offensive line and that was the issue, they should be unbeatable.
Right.
Or Baker Mayfield's complete trash and they should get rid of him. But
Right.
it's hard not to improve of how bad he was last year.
That's true. That is true. There's more. Yeah, I agree on that.
It seems like Baker Mayfield either has to be a breakout or he's out of a job.
Exactly. So there's pressure to perform.
Right.
He has to be a breakout. Otherwise, he's not playing with the Browns anymore. Because let me tell you something. With Odell Beckham alone, I understand the offensive line issues, but Odell Beckham opening up the field the way he does, and Jarvis Landry on the slot, running those patterns in the middle of the field, there should be, quite frankly, a good quarterback, a real quarterback. Like you give that offensive line to Tom Brady, for example, with Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham on the outfield. Do you think he's getting hit that many times? Do you think he's not making plays?
Right.
I think
It's hard to compare Tom Brady there, which
No. But I'm just saying, I'm comparing a real quarterback to the situation. I think it's dangerous when we talk about like the Dak Prescotts and the Matt Ryans of the world who need people around them in order to make them better. I think I'm sorry, what's his name? Jesus. Baker Mayfield, sorry. I think he's one of those people that if the situation is not just right, he's not really going to perform. I think we saw that in his first year when he performed, the way he performed those first 5 games. As soon as the offensive line went away and they went with a more of an offensive assault, it thought him back. It wasn't his style of play, and it really killed him. So you got to. That's the only thing about Baker Mayfield.
They used the run game a lot last year. If you look, the offensive line was terrible, but somehow Nick Chubb, I think he landed in the top 5 in rushing. So that's a compliment on how good. Yeah. So maybe if they play action off of it a little bit more, and I know they did sign, I think it was Jack Conklin and a few other like offensive linemen. So
yeah, they got him some help.
Yeah, so we'll see. I see it as a possibility.
I mean, I'm not saying the guy is the best quarterback in the world, but it's like a perfect storm of you have to produce.
Yeah. No, exactly. I agree with that 1,000%. Absolutely.
Very true.
He doesn't have a choice. Yeah.
That's true. Word. All right.
Can we talk about Tyrod Taylor here?
Absolutely.
Tyrod Taylor's a great pick.
Where's your question mark with him? I like Tyrod Taylor a lot. Where he goes, he doesn't necessarily come out of the gates running very long, but he always fills the seats. He brings excitement. There is big plays written all over his game. Now, with that said, he'll make your 2 big plays, and then he'll just be pretty mediocre the rest of the game. But in terms of my breakout pick, I feel like new beginning for him always spells something good. If you look at his past, every time he starts new somewhere, he does well. And then whatever happens after that, but on a fantasy, from a fantasy perspective, he's gonna make big plays. He's mobile, so he can run. I like the dual threats right now for fantasy. Those are kind of the guys that are topping the list right now. But that's my take on him. But I'm probably gonna live and die by that breakout pick, to be honest with you.
Can I add something to that? He has a lot of weapons around him. He has Keenan Allen. He has Hunter Henry, right? Austin Eckler out of the backfield. Mike Williams, which is a great red zone target. So there's a lot of talent around him.
The Chargers are going to be a big drafting. They have a lot of people you could draft next year, and a lot of potentially really good players. I mean, they can make some real good noise.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, man. I'm a rock with him, but I mean, in terms of
Can I ask a question here?
Yeah.
So this one's for Isaac and also you, Anthony. For Isaac, what round would you target Baker Mayfield in for a fantasy draft? And Anthony, what round would you target Tyrod Taylor?
Woof.
Potential sleepers.
You want to go first, Anthony?
No, you go ahead. I got to think about it.
So I think if I were to take Baker, I'd take him. It depends on what kind of fantasy, I guess, team I'm playing for. I've got an 8-person league and a 10-person league.
Let's go to your standard 8 league.
So for the 8 league, I'd take him as my second quarterback. I wouldn't take him as my primary.
Gotcha.
So I'd probably, if he's still there in the 10th, I'd take him. But he's not someone that I'm actually looking to target currently, just because.
So if you see him take a flyer
last year, and he totally burnt me.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree. For me, with Tyrod, so when people start selecting quarterbacks, like outside of your ringers, right? When people start selecting quarterbacks, you should probably wait 2 rounds after that for Tyrod. He's still a starter, but I'm thinking 6th and down. I don't know that he's gonna. You're gonna lose a lot if you shoot for him in your first 5. But I'm saying 6th and down. He's definitely not my first quarterback because it's rolling the dice. But there's a lot of people out there, depending on how deep your league is, he can be the 2 or 3. You know what I mean? But I'm going 6th round and down. Nothing
Yeah.
higher than the 6th round for Tyrod.
Hey, Emmanuel. So how about for Daniel Jones? Where would you target him at?
So here's the situation with Daniel Jones. I think, while I do think he's going to be good, I think he's going to be available in a lot of leagues later in the round. I think the big player over there is Saquon Barkley. If Evan Ingram is healthy, if
Golden Tate.
And if Golden Tate. You got Golden Tate and I'm sorry,
Darius Slayton. He's been
Yeah.
he's really coming out as a downhill.
I think they have a lot of receivers. So my point is, I think they have a lot of good receivers over there. I apologize. I'm on hour 13 right now, and my brain's not really working anymore.
That's the way we do it, man.
But I think they have a lot of good receivers, and I do think Saquon's going to open up the field for him a lot, especially as a pass catcher. I think Daniel Jones is going to be a breakout star next year, but I think he's going to be available in the 12th round in a lot of leagues. So I really wouldn't pick him up until then.
Like it.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
So where'd you take Kyler Murray, Mike?
Oof. Kyler Murray, I'm really liking him. Like I see him in a lot of mock drafts going, as early as round 4, believe it or not. His draft position right now, I think, is the 6th best quarterback available on ESPN. So why he is my sleeper, I think he will have some immediate production, and you could target him as your top quarterback, especially if you have good, like a better team like around you, like 2 good running backs or dominant receivers, other guys that can break in this point spread. Because I think you might get some inconsistent games from him, but I think he has a lot of he might have some games where he really can score a lot of points, especially with his feet. So I would say I would take him as early as the 5th.
Yeah, I think where he landed last year, you're probably right.
Yeah.
Like, just from looking at his numbers. But yeah, man. I think it's all good, man. I'm looking forward to the rest of the season, man. You guys ready to close up shop here?
Yeah. Yep.
All right, cool, man. So for anybody watching this, soon enough we're gonna have a link for you to kind of chat with us, interact with us. We're gonna thank you for your time. We want to definitely hit you guys up. If you guys need any tips, if there's any particular corner you prefer on the 4 corners, you can reach out and just say, this message is for Tony or Isaac, right? Let us know what you think. Give us some tips. But we do want to keep mindful of the time to end, of course. So everybody stay home, stay safe. I think I speak on behalf of everybody at 4 Corners. We're all we watch our idols on television do the same thing, and we feel like we need to follow the rules as well. I'm sure in the future here we're going to be sitting in a nice studio setting where we can kick our feet up, but we appreciate it. I appreciate you guys, man. Anybody have any closing remarks before we exit the corners?
Yes. Please comment below on whose picks you like the most, whether it's mine, Anthony's, Manny's, or Isaac's.
Hey, don't
That'd be
forget,
nice.
guys, rent's due. Get after it.
We'll see next week about the top running backs for each one of us.
Yeah. Next edition is definitely going to be running backs. And then going forward, we're going to be doing our 30-minute segments. But we're definitely going to jump around. But please comment. Let us know what you guys think. Once we start airing, we'll give you like a line, an 800 number you can call in if you guys want to call in and poke fun at us or talk fantasy as well. Isaac, any closing remarks before we exit the corners?
I think I'm good.
Cool. All right. Well, from the folks here at 4 Corners, man, same field. There's always 4 sides. We look forward to speaking with you guys next time.
Bye, everyone.